Welcome to Our Jewish Roots.
Mono is one, arche is a Greek word for rule. They wanted a leader. And we're going to see that leadership's important. It's also important for that principal leader to be tethered to biblical principles. And that wasn't always the case. When we look at the story of Israel's kings, it starts off with Saul, Shaul, but he wasn't bridled by biblical virtues. He dissipates, he evaporates, we see his demise. And against that backdrop, we have the rise of David, who comes out of nowhere, providentially, a man after God's own heart. And led by that disposition, we see that he enjoys success in life against all odds. We see, however, that he gets a little too attracted to that which comes with his office. And he forgets the one who gave it to him. He starts living in an entitlement mode, and that becomes his undoing. Happily for him, however, when we look at David, he turns, he repents, and that salvages him and his dynasty. Solomon comes in short order in the biblical text, and his emergence comes with a lot of fanfare and success and good things. But he just proves faithless and spends the better part of his administration indulging in that which comes with it, and this will be his undoing. The net result, his son Rehoboam comes to power, and with him comes a civil war. The north and the south. There's a revolt. The united monarchy ceases. It's what we call a divided monarchy subsequent to Rehoboam, and the net result is political intrigue, war, death, decay, disorientation, goes off the charts. It's one thing to dress like a king. It's another thing to actually be one. And if you're going to be a king, you have to have a kingdom. The word kingdom itself is a conflation of two words, the king's domain. That is the area where the king rules. If a king is going to rule from an area, a king is going to need a capital. And no one knew that more than Israel's essentially first and arguably greatest king. Well, there was one before David, and we'll get to that in a moment. But David himself, when he came into his own, he really felt that compulsion to go for a capital city in a place known today as Jerusalem. The city itself, or the area itself, however, was inhabited by the Yebusi, the Jebusites. And here, this is an Our Jewish Roots exclusive. We're taking you right to the place. We're retrojecting back in time 3,000 years. If these stones could talk, they would speak of the Jebusites who built these as part of their fortifications. We read in the biblical literature about the Jebusites, and we learn how David stealthily got the better of them and established his city and his capital, not right here, but up there in the city of David. I love taking you to it, and I love taking you to the Bible that tells the story of it. And as we look at kings and kingdoms, indeed, that's a story that we need to tell. Men are always clamoring for power, and there is so much political intrigue associated with it because people want to wear the crown. I mention that because we see political intrigue in advance of David's ascension to power. There's political intrigue throughout his reign, all kinds of tensions. And then in David's waning years, there's political intrigue associated with who's going to succeed him.